Hi. In today's video, we are going to discuss about art launching process. As we all know, whenever we are working on scaled agile environment, it is always essentially important for us to understand about the agile release train part. As far as agile release train itself is concerned, where this is the time to execute the kind of activities which are necessary for agile release train art launch, wherein whenever we are working on this SPCs, when we are implementing the initial agile release trains, all that, it is always important for us to understand about the process of this launch process, where we need to categorize this into different parts. The first one is about the defining art. Let me give you an overall idea first, then I'll get into the detailed part. So one is about we need to define the art. Followed by this, we need to set the art launch date and as well as cadence calendar, all that. At the same time, we need to train art leaders and stakeholders, followed by forming the agile teams, right? So at the same time, training project managers, product owners, scrum team members, scrum masters, team coaches, system architects, all that. At the same time, assessing launch readiness, followed by preparing this art backlog. Now, when we try to understand the first one, which is of defining the art process, wherein creating an implementation plan majorly used for the stakeholders used to identify the first value stream mapping, which majorly focuses by defining and determine the potential art process, wherein to understand about the kind of parameters, boundaries of agile release train, wherein to be focused more on the specific areas of understanding, wherein it also helps the teams to identify the principle of different art roles what we have. Majorly works on the responsibilities, wherein to define the right people are given to the right blend of responsibilities. At the same time, we need to understand about art organization, which is a system which must be allowed in a flow, wherein the necessary responsibilities majorly focusing on solution definitions, building validations, deployments. All these must be realized for the system functionalities for smooth functioning. At the same time, along with this, critical roles and as well as the kind of discussions which we need to highlight the responsibilities, which majorly focuses on applying system thinking, wherein by for example, I can say like leaders and executives of associated value stream business areas, data center managers, enterprise and security architects. At the same time, even marketing and sales representatives. So all these things are comes under that, wherein this will be used for the right set of business owners, can collectively aligning differing organizational responsibilities, all these areas. This is the first one, which we must understand when it comes to the defining art launch itself is concerned. Whereas when it comes to the second one, which is to set art launch date followed by the cadence delivery, which is more important. In reference to the art definitions, especially to set the date and as well as the first PA planning process as well as the event is very important, wherein to create forcing functions, date certain deadlines for the launch, which will create a starting point in defining planning timelines, all that. In this, majorly, the first step is to establish the art cadence, as I already mentioned you, because we need to create cadence calendar where we need to establish the hard cadence. This includes like PAs and as well as iteration lengths, all that. These consist of four regular 2 week iterations and as well as one innovative planning iteration, all that. But in reference to this calendar itself is concerned, there is no fixed rule for PI cadence, nor for how much time should be reserved for PI iteration, all these. But normally, whenever we try to understand from the recommendation point of view, the duration PI is between from usually will be taken 8 to 12 weeks. This is what generally will be taken, right? So 8 to 12 weeks is what generally the timeline will be taken into consideration. Once the cadence is chosen, it should remain stable and not arbitrarily changes from one PI to another. At the same time, this also allows the art to have a predictable rhythm and velocity, so that the fixed cadence will also allow a fully year of events to be scheduled on people's calendar. Majorly, this PA calendar successfully define the following activities. So when we talk about PA calendar, there are four areas we need to understand. One is about the PA planning. The second one is called system demos. The third one is art coach and POC events. Last but not least, wherein we need to inspect and adopt workshops, right? So these are the four areas which we have to be focused whenever we are trying to understand launch dates and cadence calendars and all that. So these are the areas where we have to be focused more on. At the same time, when it comes to the in-person planning, this advance notice reduces the travel enforceability, the cost for remote or hybrid planning, which majorly helps to ensure most stakeholders will be able to participate, so that once the calendar is set, the team events can also be scheduled with each team defining the time and place of their events, including team planning, demos, retrospectives. All these will be taken into consideration so that all the teams on the train should use the same iteration starts and end dates, facilitating synchronization across the art, all that. Now, when it comes to the third one, which is called train art leaders and as well as stakeholders, where depending on the scope and as well as timing of the rollouts, there may be several art leaders like release train engineers, product managers, right? So because there are different art leaders we can say, right? So when we talk about art leaders, there are different people. The first one is called RTs, which we call it as release train engineers, all that. At the same time, it can be product managers even. At the same time, it can be system architects usually, right? So system architects and all, these are all different art leaders, followed by the stakeholders. Either it can be business owners, managers, internal suppliers, operations, all that. Wherein to understand this, training these art leaders and stakeholders, which are essentially important to address the unclear or unexpectations, or it may be needful help in understanding the needs and benefits of the participations, but also must understand, support the model of responsibilities of their roles, wherein these spaces will often arrange a leading scaled agile education towards the stakeholders and motivating participations, or else it can be in one day implementation workshops, right? So all these things we do, which is essentially an handoff of primary responsibilities for the change from the change agents to the stakeholders of newly formed art, all that. Now, when we talk about forming of agile teams, when we see this, This is a kind of a solution which is to enable the people to on the art to organize themselves into agile teams with minimal constraints. In other cases, management makes initial selections based on their objectives, knowledge of individual talents, aspirations, timings, and other factors and all that, which makes teams better understanding their local context and know how they like to work. Managers add perspective based on current individual organizational product development strategies, all these. But when it comes to forming of agile teams, all that, before PA planning and all practitioners must be part of the cross-functional agile teams that we have to be initiated with, wherein the initial roles like scrum masters, team coaches, product owners, all these will be included in this area. Next is to organize agile teams with different team topologies when we talk about. So there are four fundamental team type enhances which simplify the task for organizing around value, wherein the first one, which is called stream aligned teams. This is what the first one we call it as. The second one is called complicated subsystem teams. The third one is of platforming teams, followed by enabling teams. Okay. Now, when it comes to stream aligned teams and all, wherein are the end customer aligned and are capable of performing all the steps needed to build end-to-end customer value. When it comes to complicated subsystems, those are the organized around critical solution subsystems, which focus on areas of high technical specializations, which limits the cognitive load on all the teams. When it comes to platform teams, which provide application services and APIs for stream aligned team levels to leverage common platform services, followed by enabling teams provides tools and services and short-term expertise to other teams, all that. Now, when it comes to the next one, which is called training the project managers, product owners, and as well as product managers, all that, wherein they have the responsibility and authority over the features and stories respectively. These are the kind of roles which are critical to success of most the art, and people fulfilling these roles must be trained to ensure optimal collaboration, learning the new way of working, understanding how to fulfill their specific responsibilities the best as they can. In addition to these roles, these will be primarily responsible for building the initial art backlogs, which is a crucial artifact for PA planning, all that. Now, when it comes to the training of Scrum Masters and as well as team coaches, wherein these members improves the team performance. Specifically, the role includes traditional Scrum leadership duties, new responsibilities. At the same time, help the team to achieve the flow of the responsibilities to the larger team of agile teams that consists of art process. At the same time, Scrum Masters and team coaches also plays a critical roles in PA planning and help coordinate value delivery through coach sync events and all that. It majorly incredibly helpful if they receive appropriate training before we are going to start the first PA process, all that. So this is the area where we need to be focused more on whenever we are trying to understand about Scrum Master, team coaches. All these things will be taking into consideration. The next one about training the architects, because this is the Next one we can see here, right? So training the system architects is what we have to be seen with, because these are the one which enable solution development by providing communication and evolving solutions in a broader technology and architectural view. So enable agile teams to make effective decentralization decisions that accelerates the creation of business value while ensuring the solution architecture which remains robust and sustainable. So hence individual fulfilling these roles must be experienced technical experts and influential lean agile leadership with skill set and engaging across organizations, all that. So hence when it comes to the architect levels, when we try to understand safe architects, which majorly focuses on senior technical contributions, the role of an architect in lean agile enterprises, wherein to explore the principles of underlying lean agile architecture and release on demand. Along with this, learning to lead and support solution trends and agile release trends, which extend the principles driving continuous flows to large system of systems, and as well as discovering how to enable an improved flow of value across entire portfolio, all that. Now, when we talk about assessing the launch readiness, when we talk about assessing launch readiness, all that, this part itself is concerned when we talk about this. When we try to understand about the readiness practices, which elements of successful art launch, additional activities are required when we are implementing the safe is based on the empirical plan to check adjust, which is called PDCM model, all that. Wherein certain degree of readiness will also be helpful to assure successful planning events in the first time. Mostly would agree the most of the items in the areas which are required for successful launch, which might be depending on the circumstances, that can also be addressed over the first few PIs, all that. The last one, which is nothing but preparing of art backlog, which majorly focusing on scope of PAs of what gets built is primarily defined by art backlog, which contains the set of upcoming features, NFRs, and architectural works that define the system future behaviors, all that. To the end, SBCs and as well as LAC stakeholders, often facilitating bringing the art stakeholders together to prepare a common backlog. This is typically done in the series of backlog refinement workshops and other activities, whichever are we performing whenever working on the art backlog, which majorly focuses more on backlog readiness. At the same time, active planning with the teams will sort out many issues, wherein by experiencing well-written features and initial acceptance criteria, or plan and create user stories ahead of time. All these things we need to be focused more when we are working on the preparation of art backlog is all about. So this is all about understanding the art launch, which majorly whenever we are working on scaled agile environment, especially in reference to the scale level process, whenever we are working on, which is always important for us to understand about the art launch process. All these points are essentially required for the people who are working on scaled agile level. This is all about this video. So if you have any questions, if you have any queries or any training as well as coaching needs of any of the sort, either it can be of agile or scaled agile level, all that, please reach out to the contact details which will be posted in below to this video. Thank you.